definition, the questions were clearly telling us that now they have raised their bar. That means you shouldn't really prepare from the point of view. So let's go ahead and just look at the MCQs and nothing else. This concept will really not work this time, right? So you'll have to go through the proper knowledge and then you need to pursue towards the MCQ so that you know the reason behind the MCQ rather than just knowing that particular MCQ. So based upon these things, I've given you a good amount of questions to look forward to. So let's quickly begin and understand the basic questions related to this area, right? Now, here comes the first question. Which one of the following statements is true about value accounting? Now, the first question says it's the same as cost accounting. Value cost accounting is used to evaluate and capture individual contributions in making of the product, or it makes it onto okay, just a moment. I think now it's visible. It takes into account only the tangible contributions of the in making of the product, or it takes into account only the intangible contributions in making of a product. This is basically a question which is pure theoretical and has got multiple statements which are all confusing. So what is true about the value counting, everyone? Okay, basically, in terms of value accounting, now, value accounting is used to evaluate and capture individual contributions. What is the individual contribution for making the product? That is covered under the term value accounting. So, in this case, the correct answer is B, right? Next question. Which of the following statements is true or is not correct about US GAAP? That is, US Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. These are a collection of commonly followed accounting rules and standards for a financial reporting. These have been adopted by US Securities and Exchange Commission, that is SEC. The main purpose of GAAP is to bring transparency and consistency in financial reporting. These provide definite assurance that a company's financial statements are free from errors or intended omissions. What is the correct answer in this case? See, when we talk about any kind of these kind of concepts, now there's one hardcore reality. Any method, any specific accounting standard method can never give a definite assurance. How can someone or something give a definite assurance that the company of the company's financial statements are free from errors? By just following these rules and regulations, that doesn't mean that these are free from errors. Errors can come up at any point of time, isn't it? So how can we say that these are free from errors altogether? So the wrong part is that these provide a definite assurance. Anything that is providing you definite assurance that the books of accounts are error free, then probably they are making a fraud. Because there is no definite assurance even with the best accounting standards that we follow. Next question. A number of notes are appended to the balance sheet by the companies, which include information such as the contingent liabilities, market value of the investment, etc. This is due to the compliance of which of the following accounting concepts? That is, business entity concept, money measurement concept, realization concept, or the last one, that is accounting or full disclosure concept. When we define this partner, there is a number of nodes that are given. See, what happens is just below the balance sheet now, we have a balance sheet, and just below the P&L as well, depends upon the scenario, they give a specific amount of information there. The specific amount of information that they provide just below it, the information contains a lot of theoretical area. They are providing a good amount of footnotes, good amount of disclosures that are required while the stakeholder is looking forward to understand the company. And maybe that particular person is a potential investor, maybe he's looking forward to investment, but he wants to know more and more about the company before making such a decision. So in this case, the correct answer would be accounting of full disclosure concept. Okay, here comes the next question. Which of the following is or are the main principles of double entry system? Double entry system of bookkeeping was given by Luca Bartolomeo Spiccioli. He's the father of accounting there, right? So the system that he introduced is called double entry because it has two aspects. Just like LHS is equal to RHS in mathematics, we have debit is always equal to credit. There is no exception to it, everyone. If there is an imbalance, that simply means there is something incorrect, because there is no exception to this scenario, right? So what is the point there? Which of the following are the main principles of what is the main principle of double entry system? Every business transaction has two aspects, on one of receiving the benefit and the other one of giving it. For every transaction, two parties must be interested. The twofold effect of business transaction is recorded, one by debiting and the other one by credited, the same, or all of the above. In this case, each and every element is talking about the double entry bookkeeping, because there are two parties. I can never take out money from my right pocket and put it in the left pocket and celebrate that my left pocket has got money, right? That doesn't make any sense. So what makes sense is, if I am giving money to you or you are giving money to me, in both the cases one of us is making an expense, the other party is making an income. So in this case, that is what can be called in terms of this. So there are two parties involved, number one, and then there is twofold effect of the business transaction is recorded. One side is debited, the other side is credited, right? So there are two aspects altogether, right? Here comes the next question. Which one of the following statements above about journal ledger is not correct? The term posting means transferring the debit and the credit items from the journal to their respective accounts in the ledger. The journal is a book of chronological record, while the ledger is a book of analytical record. Journal is more reliable as compared to the ledger, or the ledger is the book of first entry. Okay, there's one thing, the ledger is never the book of first entry. So this is the point that that would definitely be wrong in every case. The reason is, the first book of the entry is journal. Everything that first happens is always taken to the journal, not to ledger or any other books of accounts altogether. And at the same time, these are all prepared in a chronological order, means date wise, on first this happened, then second, then third, whatever those days would be, right? So the journal would be more reliable to this scenario, and the term posting here means that we are transferring from the one portion to another portion. Okay, moving on. If X is a credit balance in the cash book carried forward on the debit side, then reconciliation is casting X on the debit side, casting 2X on the credit side, casting 2X on the debit side, or casting X on the credit side. If X is a credit balance in the cash book carried forward on the debit side. Okay, so this was basically a carried down on the credit side. Actually, this is correct. Na? And what they did was, it has been carried down on the debit side, right? So what should we do? In order to understand what we can do, the answer could be what exactly, everyone? This is a simple question, but I would say it has been twisted badly. See, if X is a credit balance in the cash book carried forward on the debit side, then in terms of reconciliation, what are we going to do? first of all, if X is a credit balance, when we talk about a credit balance, it would be debited later on, है ना? It would become a debit balance later on, because when we carry it down it would go towards a debit balance there, but it has been taken on the debit side, so it would be created in that case, because whatever is carried down it is taken towards the brought down. If this is the side, it is basically crossed in any case. So in this case the correct answer would be casting 2x on the debit side. Why? Because what we are going to do in terms of reconciliation, whatever was basically debited on the, it was carried down on the debit side now. So we'll be cancelling that debit because it has been turned into a credit later on. So that credit will have cancelled the debit and a new one would be created, so that we can actually have a credit balance altogether. It's more or less like if you want to show the debit balance. For example, I want to show the debit balance and I have shown the credit balance. What will I do? If I have shown it as a credit, first of all, this credit has to be debited. So there would be a cancel and another one should be credited. So in this case, it should be 2x. That's the rule, everyone. I hope this is easier. Okay. Next question. Freight expenses for carrying machinery is carried to travel account. Then rectification in trial balance is. See, in this case, what has happened is there's a freight expenses in terms of machinery. Always remember the expenses which you are incurring for an asset would be marked or carried in that asset itself. So it has to be taken into the machinery account debited cash. This freight was supposed to be taken like this, but we made a terrible mistake and took it in the travel account. है ना? So it is travel account debited to cash. So how do we deal with this? The best way to deal with is we take it into the machinery account and we take the travel account down. That means this account is technically eliminated and this account is created. Right? So in this case, what would be the correct answer? The correct answer is machinery to travel. The correct answer is A. It is a question of rectification of errors. Next question. Goods worth goods worth X sold to Vijay was entered in the purchase account. That is, the rectification is we sold goods to Vijay. Technically, it was Vijay to sales, but we noted it as purchases to Vijay. Now the point is, this is the wrong entry, this is the correct entry. Now if I want to rectify it, how do we rectify the situation, everyone? If I want to rectify, first of all, I will take Vijay into account, right? Then what will happen is Vijay should be taken twice. Reason that he is supposed to be debited and he is right now credited as well. So he should be doubled and this purchase account should be eliminated and the sales account shall also be eliminated. The sales account should be created. So this would become an entry like Vijay account debited 2x, 2 purchases x and sales x again. So in this case the correct answer would be. So let's look at this. What would be the correct answer? The correct answer would be credit purchases and sales there to the extent of each and debit Vijay by 2x. Okay? Because we're eliminating his entry account. Okay, here comes the next question. On the basis of the information given below, answer the following questions. The balance in the accumulated provision for depreciation account of the company as at the beginning of the year was this. So basically the books of accounts said that the value of the goods were, value of the machinery was rupees 2 lakh, you know, when the original cost of accounted to rupees 10 lakh. Acha, this is basically depreciation and the value of the machinery was 10 lakhs. The company charges full 10% depreciation on the straight line basis for all the assets, including those which have been either purchased or sold during the year. Basically, they are saying that the company will depreciate the books of accounts in terms of the books of accounts at the rate of 10%, and in terms of a straight line basis, that whatever they have been taking, they have been doing it for the same way every year, right? And they are selling it. One such asset costing rupees 5 lakh with accumulated depreciation. There was particular asset which was bought for rupees 5 lakh. The depreciation on it was 1 lakh rupees and it's disposed of during the year, right? The depreciation for the current year would be what? 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 or 1 lakh. Technically, we'll assume that if nothing is specified, it is basically sold at the end of the year. Okay? That is what will be, because 5 lakh was accumulated depreciation was 1 lakh over that area. That simply means if I have to take total, the value of that particular asset is rupees 10 lakh at the beginning of the time, and depreciation every year was 10% per annum. So in this case, the depreciation should be rupees 1 lakh. Then the question says the balance of the accumulated depreciation account at the end of the year, considering the current year depreciation charge, would be. So technically we already had 2 lakh rupees, right? But we are selling the asset worth rupees 1 lakh during the, basically I am selling an asset worth rupees 5 lakh during the year, है ना? So technically the entire 10 lakh can be divided into a set of 5 lakh each. Now out of this one is sold. The accumulated depreciation on it during the year was 1 lakh. The one which we retained had a depreciation of 1 lakh. This is the information that they gave, and this is the balancing figure that I created, because the total was of 10 lakh there and depreciation was total of 2 lakh there. So the one that has been sold, now the depreciation on each of these, the one that has been sold during the year, the depreciation would have been 50,000, and the one which has been retained, the depreciation would be 50,000, considering 10% of 5 lakh there. This means whatever is left during the year, that particular thing would be having a depreciation of 1 lakh 50. If the machinery is sold, the depreciation is also gone. So technically, whatever we are left with, the depreciation on it is 1,50,000. Right? Got it, everyone? Going very slowly, especially for this question. Which of the following event or transaction shall not be recorded in the accounting books of a company? Compensation paid to a worker by the company for the injury during its duty hours, adverse effects of the performance of the company due to ill health of the managing director, writing off of the account of trade debtor who died after meeting an accident, or all of the above. Which one shall not be recorded? Technically, when we are recording it, the adverse effect of the performance of the company due to the ill health of the MD. This is something which is hard to quantify. Rest everything can be quantified very easily, right? Anything which can be turned into this area would be considered here, isn't it? So in this case, the correct answer is B. Okay, here comes the next question, everyone. How much will an ordinary annuity of 6 lakh 50 per year worth in 8 years at an annual interest rate of 6%? Ordinary annuity means annuity at the end of the year. It was P 1 plus R raised to power n minus 1 upon R. This is the formula. So go ahead and try this. Take a moment, everyone. Okay, so tried the question yet? How do we find it's an annuity? Whenever there's an annuity, first of all, they'll specify the name. Secondly, they'll always specify per year. And in this case, they have given it would be 8 years and the rate is 6%. So whenever you are calculating, it would basically go like this, that in this case, we have got 650 rupees in this particular area. We want to know what would be the value of the 650 after those 8 years. Hai na? So in this case, we can actually use this formula as well, everyone. So what am I doing? What will we do? We'll take up this 8%. है ना? In this case, we have to take up 8 years and the PV factor has to be 6%. How am I calculating it? One of the easiest things, pick up your calculator please, and on your calculator type 1, then type divided by, when you add 6%, they have specified 6% now, that is 1 divided by 1.06 in your calculators. When you click on equal to, you will get the value for the first year, the one that you get for the value for the first year. If your calculator does not have a GT function, GT means grand total, if it has it, just click on equal to how many times? 8 times. After clicking on equal to 8 times, all in all, click on GT and you will get the 9.8975 figure. Otherwise, if this figure is not visible to you there, in that case, if you are not able to use GT function, then what you can do is, every time you click on equal to, click on memory plus, click on equal to, click on memory plus, click on equal to, click on memory plus, equal to, this should continue till, this particular technique should continue till 8 times. Okay, once you have done it for 8 times, then click on MRC. So whatever you put in the memory would be totaled all together by your calculators and you will get the total figure of 9.875. If I am putting 650 single year, then what is the value after 8 years? It can be easily calculated, right? Next question. What would you pay for an ordinary annuity of 2000 paid every 6 months for 12 years if you could invest your money elsewhere at a nominal rate of interest of 10% compounded semi annually? In this case, what you can do is you are putting up 2000 rupees every year now, and you are putting up 10% now. 10%, which is basically interest rate which is compounded semi annually, you know. So basically interest rate of 10% is total, and you want to compound it semi annually, so your interest rate would be 5%. And if it is for 12 years and done twice a year, it would be 12 into 2. It would be a total of 24. Use your discounting factor technique and solve this formula. What will you do? It would be 1 divided by 1.05, giving you the first value there, and you have to click or keep on clicking it for 24 times. If you're putting it in the memory, put in the memory 24 times. Click on m plus equal to, then m plus equal to, then m plus. So once you get the total of it, then use that particular total, that is the value that you will be getting, and then multiply it by 2000. So in this case, the correct answer would look like this. You put 2000 rupees and then multiply it by 13.7986. So giving you an answer of 27,597.20. Which one of the following is incorrect? Replacement of a defective part of a machinery is a revenue expenditure. Is it? Then, daily wages paid for erection of a machinery is capital expenditure. Underwriting commission for the issue of shares is a revenue expenditure. And excess of selling price over the WTV but less than the cost price is treated as a revenue receipt. Always remember, when you are selling an asset, it would never be a revenue receipt. It would always be what exactly, everyone? Whenever you sell an asset. Whenever we sell an asset, it would always be a capital receipt, no matter what it is. So in this case, that is the point. Then it is excess of the sale price of machine over WTV. If your selling price is more than the cost price, then this is profit. Yeah, this profit is a revenue receipt. So kind of correct. Underwriting expenses is basically a fictitious asset. This is a fictitious asset, everyone. That's why they have taken it. It is not a revenue expenditure, it is basically a fictitious asset. The correct answer is C. Next question. Which one of the following is true? Among the following, which is true? There is no difference in appearance between trade and accommodation bill. Accommodation bill is when two people are trying to help each other. So that's accommodation bill. A bill of exchange must be accepted. It has to be accepted. Then a drawer is the maker of the bill. Drawee is the maker of the bill, or the creditor draws a bill on debtor. Now that's a contradictory point between C and D. So that will give you a hint that among them you will find the answer. In terms of bills of exchange, what happens is there are two parties. One is drawer, one is drawee. Whenever these two parties are there, this is the maker of the bill. And he orders the other person pay so much amount of money after so much amount of time. So in this case, the correct answer is that drawee is not the maker of the bill. So this is wrong. Which one of the following is true? Another question there. It's a statement based question again. An insolvent is a person for whom some portion of the debt is recoverable. Then drawer drags the drawee to court in case of a dishonor of a accommodation bill. when the due dates of the bill falls on the public holiday, it is payable on the earlier working day, or drawee is the person to whom the bill is endorsed. Which one is correct? Okay, whenever we talk about the correct point there, when the due date is basically public holiday, it is payable on a earlier day. That is true. Always remember, normally na, whatever the due date of the bill is, first of all, whatever the due date of bill is, add 3 more days to it. This is called the grace period. Okay, without the grace period you cannot really ask the other person to pay for the bill. So technically, within all